What's going on? What's happening? And welcome to the show. I'm excited, man. We want to welcome everybody into the S.I.P. Noon Show. The S.I.P. Noon Show. We are live in this thing. My name is Dr. Jeremy Blunt, and I'm here live with none other than D-Man himself. Introduce yourself, sir.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Damon Lodge, and I'm happy to be here to see you again. So let's get this thing kicked off. What's the topic for the day, sir? I know they're interested in it.
Who topic for the day? Topic for the day. It's man. This one is a biggie. I've been getting a lot of information and a lot of feedback about man. Folks been dealing with people uh, that are just man. That they full of themselves. They just that's what the problem is. They straight up full of themselves. Like they can't function. Um, they can't seem to um, they can't seem to function without people just you know just feeding into them, and it's all about them. Look, before we jump any further, let me jump in and mention that if you would like to comment, we like feedback from you. There is a link that is posted. We are using a different platform. So when you comment under Facebook, it takes us a while if we see it at all. So there is a link that you can comment live so that we can see it. All you have to do is click that link and it asks for permission to be able to post on your behalf. And then we'll see your comments live right here with us. So click on that link. You'll see it right underneath my name. I posted it before we got started today. So today's discussion, we've all said it. We've all heard it said, or if we hadn't said it, we've heard it said. You know, my ex is a narcissist. That's why we aren't together anymore. Or my boss is a narcissist. They figure that everything revolves around them. Well, today is the day we're going to help determine whether or not this is actually true. To help you to kind of define some of these things and kind of streamline this out.
That's
So that's
good right there.
So, first question. I'm ready for the first question because I know, I know this is about to be something else.
All right, so the first question of the day is going to be what defines a narcissist, or what someone would define as a narcissist?
Oh, all right. Oh, right out the gate. All right, let's just narrow this down. The easiest way for me to answer this is actually going to be to tell you signs that you might be a narcissist. To explain it that way, narcissists they're very superficial or self-centered. You know, they're constantly thinking about themselves. They're constantly concerned about their appearance, or when they think about other people, they're only thinking about them in regards to how their appearance would make them look. So if you look bad, then I'm worried about how you look because it makes me look bad. They focus on getting their own needs met with no regard to other people. So if I got to push you over, knock you out the way, it doesn't matter. It's all about what am I going to get out of it. There's a sense of entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
They're feeling like they're always right. They're feeling that they are better, or they're better than other people, or they deserve the things that they get. Like they deserve to be treated better. There's a lack of empathy, meaning they have no regard for anybody else's feelings, or they don't show any signs of compassion. They're manipulative or controlling. They use emotions to manipulate people. And they have a tendency to be jealous, extremely jealous, or controlling in the relationship. It got to be their way or no way. They have a strong need for admiration. They demand admiration and praise. Like, you got to tell me I look good every day, how I feel. You got to tell me that every time I got a new outfit, you better recognize, I got a new purse. You better give me some accolades about this purse that I got. They like to be the center of attention. Everything has to revolve around them. And they're upset if the spotlight is not on them. They'll turn around, push other people to the side, or push other people in other ways so that they can get the attention on them. They have a difficulty with feedback. They're hypersensitive when it comes to criticism. You can't tell them nothing because they feel like every time they look around, like it got to be about them. They have a hard time admitting when they're wrong, and they're easily wounded. Now, I know that's a lot. Easily wounded, they're quick to get hurt or quick to get angry, and they frequently feel wronged by others. Every time you look around, it's all about them. So I know that was a lot. But those are the signs that you might, either you got them or somebody that may have them.
That's good. That's good. I know a couple of these traits I was kind of looking at sideways. I was like, ooh, your boy might have one or two. So that's going to jump into our next question, right? It's how do we label somebody as a narcissist? Or how do they become labeled? Do we have to say, ooh, it's my boss because he's controlling? It was my ex because it was this way? Like, how do somebody become labeled as a narcissist?
Okay, let me say it this way. No, you cannot just go around labeling people as a narcissist just because they have one or two of these traits. Or first of all, you can't just label it. You can't just walk around and label it. First off, in order to be labeled as a narcissist, a narcissist is a label that is a narcissistic personality disorder, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. More in detail, but only a mental health professional can officially give somebody the name of possessing a narcissistic personality disorder. However, there's a difference between the disorder and the traits because you can have the traits, but that doesn't mean that you have the disorder.
Okay. So let's lead us into the next question. Like I said, hypothetically speaking, I might have one or two of these traits. So does this make me automatic say I'm a narcissist? Or I have narcissistic tendencies, or how did that work?
Okay, so you might have a couple tendencies, but no, point blank. Some studies say that there can be as many as up to like 30 different traits that could label a person as narcissistic, but that doesn't make you a narcissistic. Honestly, I just named I think 7 of them. And I think you're probably going to go into this question. I just named about 7 of them. And out of those 7, to be honest with you, you have to be basically all 7 of them to be considered a narcissistic. In addition to, narcissists they're extremely jealous. They engage in something called gaslighting. It's where they leave you doubting your own reality. They leave you wondering whether or not what you believe or if you might be crazy. They aren't very loyal. They tend to throw temper tantrums. They tend to act certain kinds of ways. And honestly, they get a pleasure out of doing a temper tantrum. They part of their delight is in the argument. They actually enjoy the fact that they frustrate you, but they don't see themselves as wrong. This is the part that you have to understand, that there are a lot of people, and I'm not going to call anybody in particular right now, but there's a particular person that is on the news and he's in the forefront a lot. And I'm going to let somebody else mention who I'm commenting on, maybe in the comments below. We got a lot of people that are tuned in. But this person that they can't see themselves as being wrong. Now, here's the difference between a narcissist and other people. A narcissist does not see their error. They feel that rules don't apply to them. They thrive in chaos. In fact, they will create an atmosphere of chaos just for the sake of it being chaotic and everybody else looking crazy so they can look like they're the same one. They're the same one. You know, narcissists they lie, cheat, steal. They do really bad stuff, people, and they don't see themselves as being wrong when they do it. Why? They don't feel guilty. In their mind, they're all right. Look, somebody done commented already. Sam, number 45. I wasn't going to be the one to say it, but in their mind, they think what happens if you don't conceive yourself as being wrong? If in your view you're right, then everything else that follows goes along with that. So those are just some of the things that so no, don't sit back and label yourself just yet. And for those that are just joining on, thank y'all for coming on today. We're talking about dealing with difficult people that have narcissistic tendencies, and you may consider them that. And the signs and symptoms, we kind of talked about that a few minutes ago earlier into the show. You might have to catch the replay. But go ahead, sir. What's your comments on that?
I like how this conversation is flowing from what we talked about yesterday. We was talking about the people that's in your inner circle, right? So I think you need to be able to point out if you have somebody in your circle that's quote unquote narcissist or have some of these tendencies. Because if they have some of these tendencies, if they, if the friendship is unequally yoked, or what I'm saying, if it's all about that one friend, they have to be the life of the party. They have to be this and be that. But it's like, look, you might not need to be in my circle because you having some of these traits. You might need to go see a medical professional.
You might have to send them to somebody. By the way, I'm going to do a plug. I'm a mental health professional. You can send them to come see me. Come
That's
talk
right.
to me. I do, and I'm gonna throw this one out there. People believe a lot of times. People believe folks were born as a narcissist or with these tendencies. The truth is, it's a learned behavior. It's actually something that was learned, and I know I'm about to step on somebody's toes, but they actually may have learned it. They learned it in childhood. That means it has to do with parenting. There's it's either you've overdone it or you've underdone it. Either you overpraise or you underpraise, or can be if you didn't develop empathy into your child, then that child all of a sudden they will do things and you start seeing signs where there's no remorse. They don't feel compassion to anybody. This is a learned behavior, and then it was cultivated as they got older into early adulthood, where nobody took the time to pull them to the side and stop and say, hey, this is not how you need to act. This is not what you need to do. We don't act like this. We need to behave like this. And then we all know once you become an adult, it's kind of hard to get rid of some of them habits that you had started back from childhood.
Yeah. All right, let's
Go
hop
ahead.
into our next point, right? So I heard this term called gaslighting before. So I just want to know if you know exactly what it is for our viewers to listen to understand, and what does that look like?
Okay, so gaslighting, as I mentioned that a few minutes ago. What gaslighting is when someone denies you of your reality. In other words, what you see or what you believe, someone tells you, and it makes you question your own reality. For example, you might say, you might go to your partner or go to your friend and say, what you did, what you said last week. You made me feel really sad when you said this, that, or the other day. And their response is, what are you talking about? You have no right to feel that way. Like, that is their response. And when somebody tells you that, it makes you step back and be like, wait, like, did they really say it? Am I making this up? Another example is, the other day, I, you might have had an argument with your significant other a couple of days ago, and you go to them and you start saying things like, When we had that argument the other day, I felt like there was some this and that as a result of that because of this that you said. And their response is, I never said that. What you talking about? Man, I couldn't tell you how many clients that I actually deal with that, one of their number one complaints is that, I tell them, take a break from a discussion, give it a 48-hour break, come back, sit down, discuss with your partner about this problem or that problem. And, how many of them say, I go to my partner and it's not, they forgot, it's, and I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. I have no idea what you're talking about. Folks, these are traits of people that have those kind of tendencies. If you know people that are like this, or you've been dealing with people that are like this, I'm not going to ask you to call nobody name. I just need y'all to press the like button. I need y'all to give me some hearts. If we're on the wavelength of things that, really are helpful to you.
That's good.
I see. Ooh, the likes and the shares are going through the roof. You get hand claps and everything else going on over there. I know you have other questions, D-Lon. You want to add to that?
No, I don't, man. That sounds good. For me, especially when you're talking about the spouses, I'm a processor, so I need that time to kind of process my thoughts and get what I want to say to make sure, first of all, to make sure I don't say nothing out of pocket or out of line from that first reaction, especially if you get into a heated fellowship, like we like to say, and you don't want to be speaking off of anger, right? So
Uh-huh.
that stepping back and kind of digesting whatever that problem is helpful for me. But and on the other hand, too, I'll be like, man, I ain't say that. What you talking about? So I can see it from both aspects of it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's real
And
good.
here's the point. The fact that you can take that moment and reflect. Most normal people question themselves. This is the telltale sign of whether or not you're dealing with somebody that has narcissistic tendencies. Look, I'm going to call it, I'm going to call it this covert narcissism. That means they are a secret narcissist. That means on the slick, on the side, they just slide little comments in there. That's how their thought process is. Like, but for a normal person, they question themselves. They question, did I handle this the best way? Did I do that the best way? If you ever feel like you need to record the conversation to play it back for people, well, first of all, that's a telltale sign that that relationship is drawing to you. You're going to have to really draw some lines in that relationship because if you feel like you got to start recording stuff because you go back and talk to your partner and your partner's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, was I there? Like, who you had this conversation with? Like, things like that. And to you, you're just like, what is wrong with you? But to them, they really have no clue. Narcissists do not see themselves as wrong. They don't see. Now, so there's a difference between the disorder and the traits.
Mm-hmm.
They may be exhibiting the traits of it. And those traits just mean those are things that were lacking in things that they were taught, things that they need to be developed in them. But as opposed to the disorder in which, they it's not that they're stuck and they won't ever change from that, but they have to learn to be empathetic. They got to learn those things. And not only do they have to learn it, they just have to actually just practice it. Like number 45, he just has to practice being empathetic. Somebody else said it, so I can say it now. He just has to practice those things because in his mind, he ain't ever wrong. When I heard, and I know I'm going out there, but I'm doing it, I'm going to go. When I heard him make a comment, when someone asked about previous presidents, whether or not, he could consult with any of them, and he made the comment that if he felt that they could teach him at least just one thing that he doesn't know already, then he would consult them. And he was like, well, I don't believe, no, they can't teach me anything, so therefore I'm not going. That is the thought process. So it's easily recognizable that those kind of things, would show that. But
That's good.
that was good.
Yeah, so we know at least one person. So what about the rest of us in the world, the population? Like what's the percentage of the population that you believe is narcissistic?
Okay, well, and I've studied this and did this with a lot of different places, I talked to a lot of different experts and studied some of the things and people that actually focus specifically on this. And honestly, there is no set test out there that we can take across the board to hit. There are a lot of different assessments that are out there. But statistically, it's kind of difficult to narrow it down. Me personally, I believe that only about 10 to 15%, but it depends on where you are. Like in a general room, there may be only one or two, but it also depends on where you are. Because where you are makes a lot of the determination on those things. Like if you're at a fundraising event and everybody's there out, doing something in the community, you may only have one or two. But, when you go to like certain entertainment arenas and things like, oh, you might have, a good number because everybody is thinking about themselves. Because unfortunately, we live in a society where a lot of the traits that they talk about are things that are encouraged. They're the things that CEOs are made out of people
Hmm.
that bosses are made out of. A
Yeah.
lot of the traits that those people need to have are also traits that are exhibited in narcissists.
Yeah, that's good.
So look, you may have seen some of them on TV shows or movies with narcissistic characteristics. So now that I mentioned a couple of them, D man, have you noticed any of them on TV shows or anything like that?
I have. My wife is right now. Shout out to my wife, Miss Tony Lodge. She has been binge watching House. So anybody ever seen the TV
Mm,
show House? It's a doctor, brilliant guy, but he has these characteristics. He's not empathetic. He talks down to people. He belittle people. I was like, man, this is a prime candidate right here for
yeah,
narcissistic tendencies. Um, let's see. Let's think about somebody who's famous. This platform that we're using, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. Have you ever seen the movie The Social Network? It's a part when he's talking to one of the guys. I think he just cut him out of his business or whatever, or just blackballed him out. And he was saying, it's not because of this app. They made an app. It was like Tinder, right, where they swiped and they see pictures of somebody they like, and that's how they link up with them for their college. So he was like, it's not because of this app that no woman will ever like you. It's because that arrogant SOB, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm,
so that's a person that's famous, that did it. Somebody that's a mother. If you ever saw the movie Precious, her mother was like all about her and about the things that she did, and she tried to take that out on her daughter. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
then for a movie aspect of it, the movie The Devil Wears Prada, her boss was a big narcissist. You know what I'm saying? Very condescending and no empathy for others. So that's just kind of some some examples that we can see from these movies. So you probably gonna be watching movies and be like picking them out, and I'm like, oh yeah, he might be one, he might not.
Well, and you know what? That's going to be we can use that as part of our challenge today. People that are tuned in, that are listening live, what are some popular narcissists? Either whether or not they're movie stars, whether or not they're TV stars or actors. Do not tell us the people that's in your home. Do not tell us your mother-in-law or father-in-law. Let's keep it cordial, people. But we want to mention down there in the comments below people that you notice that have these narcissistic um, tendencies. Now, when I mentioned earlier about the narcissistic personality disorder, I want to kind of read a little bit to define it for you. What's in the NHP world, we call it NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. It's a pattern of grandiosity. That is a fantasy of our behavior that is just like huge, humongous. There's a need for admiration. There's a lack of tendency. They have this self importance or Um, everything got to be about them. They have these fantasies about being superior to everybody else, and they should receive favorable treatment. That automatic compliance from other people. This is that thought process of what they have to have. So that's I just wanted to make sure I put that out there that this is actually defined as something. Now your mother-in-law may have a couple of the tendencies. They might have a couple of different other traits, and you just going to them and just saying you need to change this or you need to fix them ain't the way to get rid of them. Yeah, they are. I like what Strickland said. I'm gonna do something I've never done before on this platform. Strickland commented, "They have their own world. They have their own world." So you are right. They are in their own world with the things that they say and the things that they do. William Johnson is the one that pointed out that it was number 45. Yes, I am pointing a couple people out. Shout out to Deidre Peoples. She
D
had a comment
Peoples.
yesterday that for some reason never showed up on our feedback. So I want y'all to know, yeah, we have a new way, a new platform of things. You comment in, we're able to actually have your comment show up on the screen. Shout out to, the lodge wife. She mentioned that she liked the fact that you said into his fellowship. Just wanted to point that out to you. If you have a comment, by all means, comment in the areas below. We love your feedback and anything that you can share with us. Because this is not just our show. This is your show. If you got a question that you want us to answer, go ahead and put it in there below. And we'll throw that question up there as well.
Awesome. I know we're running short on time, but let's get into we labeled all these people, right? I labeled that person, yeah, that person. So how do we deal with these people that got these narcissistic tendencies?
Oh, I'm so glad we got a chance to really dive into that today. So I'm gonna go through. It's something that is called soul distancing. Exercising. Now, right now, we're doing social distancing, but there's actually something called soul distancing. Soul distancing. Now, let me break this down. Your soul is believed to where your thoughts, emotions, and feelings lie. Your soul. That's where your thoughts, emotions, and feelings are. So to distance yourself, that means sometimes you have to you got to recognize your thought when it comes. You have to back away. In other words, don't take the bait whenever somebody comes at you and you know that they are narcissistic in the way that they do stuff. Because here's what happens. They throw what's called bait out there. They throw bait. Now, for those of you that are tuning in, that you want to, there is a link at the very top of the comments where you can join in on our separate platform if you want to make sure that all of your comments are seen. But I think it's doing a pretty good job of showing me all the comments today. But we were talking about soul distancing and how important it is for you to not take the bait, people. You know what you're dealing with. Stop paying attention to the things that they do. Once you recognize this is how they are, like Maya Angelou saying, when a person shows you who they are, recognize them, believe that that's who they are. I want you to do more than just believe that that's who they are. Now turn around and say, okay, since I know this is what I'm dealing with, I'm not going to allow that to get to me. First time is on me. First time is on you. Every time after that, maybe the second time, I give you that one as well. But after that, every time after that, it's on me. It's on me to turn around and say, you know what? I'm not going to keep letting you do this to me. I'm not going to keep going down into that rabbit hole. You know that they come up. They like arguments. So they'll bring stuff up just to create a chaotic situation. They'll cause problems unnecessarily. Well, guess what? You can only argue with somebody that's arguing with you back. You can only go there with somebody who's constantly doing it to you. Someone says it's hard. Tiffany. Tiffany says it's hard to ignore when it's the closest people to you, unfortunately. You know what, Tiffany? You're absolutely right. D-Man, you want to add to that before I comment on that?
uh, I really don't have anything to say to that one, man. I know it's definitely hard when the person is right there next to you. So that's a tip that I need too, sir. What you got on that?
Well, what it, this soul distancing applies to even those people that are closest to you. It
Mhm.
applies to them as well. I want to shout out everybody who's saying hello. Stephanie, Deetra, Tony, Tiffany, uh, Jeremy Strickland. I want to shout out to all of you all that are tuning in, saying, "Hey, how you doing?" We are enjoying this topic today. Look, when it's somebody that's closest to you, how you deal with them. You deal with them by remembering where you are, remembering who you are. Look, don't take it personal. You know, a dude is called uh, Go Great Rock. Stop paying attention so much to the things that they do. Just know, it's like part of this background right here. It's gray, it's solid, it's for the most, it's part of the background. So if it's part of the background, then you know what? When they say stuff, you just be like, oh, all right, I'm gonna let it's part of the background. It's just there. Just look past it. You have to practice looking past it and not take it personal. Take out of what they're saying the parts that you really need to apply, but the rest of it, okay, I'm just gonna have to not deal with that. You know, Jeremy Strickland said, asked this question: What distancing helped them in their would distancing help them in their circumstances? Yes, distancing yourself would be. That's why it's not just social. Right now, we're doing social distancing because of the quarantine, but this is called social distance. I mean, this is called soul distancing. That means I gotta take my feelings out of the equation. Sometimes we gotta do this when we're dealing with our significant other. Let's just be real. We have to take our feelings out of it. This is where we practice taking a moment, stepping back, saying, all right, I'm going to kind of deal with this later because right now might not be that moment. It may not be the best one. And look, and my last point on this is have realistic expectations. You know, just point, just be real. Know what you in for. Know who you dealing with. Know what you dealing with. If look, stop thinking that you're going to wake up one day and all of a sudden that person is not going to think the world revolves around them anymore. Just let's just be real about it. That's not going to be. If they felt that way for the last 15 days, nothing that you're going to say is going to change it. Yes, they do need to see somebody. You may have to create some distance. Look, if you are quarantining with somebody that has these tendencies, that's like this, look, folks, these are things that you can practice today because you can't necessarily get away when they're in the house with you. If you're married to them, it's different if you're dating, you can roll out. But if you're married to them, I mean, you in the relationship with them. I'm not encouraging folks go out and get a divorce because Dr. Blunt said my significant other is a narcissist. No, it says, okay, ask yourself the questions. Are they willing to put in work? Or do they show empathy? Do they hear you whenever you put out stuff? Is there feedback? Do they think about the stuff that they're saying? Do they come back to you and say, hey, can we discuss? Or, I thought about this. How receptive are they when you go to them? Now, it may be you go to them and then they need a cooling off period and they come back later and then they're willing to talk about it. Folks, that, you can stop labeling all these people as being narcissistic. I mean, they might have some tendencies, they might be covert, but you got to pay attention to these things. So, D-Lodge, you got any more comments on that?
I'm just going to kind of recap what all we've been talking about today. So, If you miss it or you catching the tail end of this, please go back to it. It is very informative, and I think it's something that you really need to to process, right? So we talked about the traits of being a narcissist or narcissistic traits, right? We also
Yeah.
talked about the disorder, the differences between the traits and the disorder. We even gave you some examples of some TV shows and some movie characters about narcissistic traits. And then the final thing we did, we gave you some tips on how to deal with people that are in your life or people that are around you that are narcissists and has these tendencies and traits. And with that, I'm gonna roll in to my hoodie challenge. I know you got your shirt,
Hoodie
and what I
challenge.
what I got is my tribe. I don't know if you can see it. Tribe, his insecurity. So what it's a men's group that we meet online because I know right now we're social distancing, so we can't be together. It is actually a men's group that we meet online. It's a safe place where we can talk about issues that men have. So the link will be on my Facebook page later today. So if you want to jump in it, 7 o'clock p.m., we'll be kicking it off, and we'll love to see you there. What you got,
Okay.
sir?
Well, mine today is one of my Stitches shirts. Make sure so everybody can see it. It says Stitches for life. No loose threads here. No loose threads. And it's really a shout out to it's what we stand for, is what we push and we believe here at Stitches Holistic Counseling Service. That we use the things that we've encountered and we face in our life to help make tomorrow better than today. So this is the S.I.P. Uh, broadcast and show. This has really been this has been huge. We really been excited about the topics that we've been talking about. Look, I just want to take a couple moments, not to just shout out everybody. If you gotten something out of today, give us some thumbs up, some hearts, and if you have any final questions or comments, um, by all means, this is that moment to throw that in there because we want to make sure we put that out there. Stephanie said we nailed it. Strictly said these are facts. So I just want to, they've been putting it out there. They've been giving us a lot of positive feedback um, about the different things that we've been talking about. Tiffany is giving us a bunch of love. We appreciate that love very much, Tiff. Um, Give us some hearts and look, share this on your page. Let other people know. Make it part of your storyline of what you watched today. If you're tuning in late, you're just getting an opportunity to become a part of this. To come in, you don't have to go back and catch the replay. Closing comments. Do we have a topic for tomorrow? We know what we're talking about.
Yes, tomorrow we're going to two things. I was supposed to do this yesterday. We're going to talk about gloves and masks, the proper way to put these things on, especially when you're going out to these stores or whatever. So the big focus I want to talk about that is going to be cross contamination. Because I see a lot of people got these gloves on, but then they got their phone, they touching in their face, like, what you doing? So we're going to talk about cross contamination tomorrow, but we're also going to talk about self discipline, right? Because in this time, in this season, we really got to crank on our self discipline because you're gonna come out of this quarantine corona fine with a gut. That's on you because you wasn't disciplined. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So we're gonna get on some discipline. We're gonna give you some tips on how to deal with that, and not even just physical, but mentally, how to self discipline yourself mentally to get to your goals and the dreams that you have. But that's gonna be tomorrow, and I can't wait to see y'all.
yes. PPE literacy. PPE literacy. Yes. Oh, look, I just and I'm going to tag a couple people specifically about the topic for tomorrow because I've seen quite a few comments from people that are talking about nobody has given a class, nobody's told anything about how they should and what they should and should not wear when they wear gloves. And look, Ashley is chiming in right now. Yes, the glove works. My nerve. He is saying it right now that hey, that is definitely something that we need to talk about. Look, we're out of time for today, folks. We thank all of you for tuning in. Look, stay at home, Stay safe. Pray, folks. Pray for your family. Pray for my family. Pray for your neighbor's family. Pray for your family's family. Them people that you don't like, yeah, them. Pray for them too. You
Yes.
know, pray for our leadership, our governmental people. Pray for our governor. Pray for our president. Lord, pray for our president. Pray for number 45. You know, pray for our world because it's not just, locally that are dealing with this. This is a global thing. And there's coming out of this, there's a lot that people need to be paying attention to and people need to get. So thank y'all for tuning in today. It's been our pleasure. If you missed it, just recap. We'll see y'all next time. Folks, deuce.
See y'all later.